Okay, so now we're on to clue 2. You have 41 blocks made in the last hour. I'm sure you got them all completed, right? All righty. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to cut some pieces for our part of our background. All right. I have already cut out of my background fabric I'll turn it this way, 13 3/8 width times with the fabric out of my background fabric. You're going to cut 2 of these. Okay, so I've got them cut. I'm going to cut off my salvage here. Let me flip over the other side and make sure. I want to make sure I've got all, I don't want to leave the little holes in there. So I'm going to cut that off. Alrighty. Now I need to cut 2 squares that are 13 3/8, which this is already cut 13 3/8 by 13 3/8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 3/8. Alrighty, so I need 2 of those. So there's my 2 squares. And I have this thing that I have to do right at the time I cut these, turn the other one right side up, because when I look at these fabrics, I can't tell what's right side and wrong side. So those are both up, and then I also need to cut 1 square 6 7/8 by 6 7/8. So there's my 6 7/8. There's 6 7/8 by 6 7/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have to talk to myself. And 7/8. I was in here doing this last night, and my husband thought I was talking to him. No, dear. You only need 1, but when I'm cutting it, I cut 2. You could have done it correctly, opened it up, cut it 6 7/8, but hey, what the heck. So there's 6 7/8. Now you're going to take your 13 3/8 squares. So it says that you had 2 strips that you cut, 13 3/8 times with the fabric. And then you took those 2 and subcut 2 at 13 3/8 by 13 3/8. So you have a total of 4, 13 3/8 by 13 3/8. So you're going to take those and you're going to cut this into 4 triangles. Okay, so we're going to do that by going across corner to corner. And you want to make sure, because you want to make sure you get right on the ends here, that you got your ruler right on the end, so that you have a true triangle. So you're going to cut it this way, and you're going to be very careful when you pick up your mat and when you lay your mat down, so that you don't move that fabric much and that you've not pulled it away from itself, so that when you're cutting the other direction, you're getting true triangles cut. Yep. Did it? Yep. So there's your 4 triangles. Yeah, well, almost. There it goes. And I don't know, there it goes. I think it's about time for a new rotary cutter blade. All right, so there's the first one.
So you're doing 1 layer at a time.
I'm doing 1 layer at a time because I'm so anal that if the bottom layer moves and it ends up being cut off by a hair, that would drive me nuts and I'd have to start all over. You do whatever floats your boat. If you want to pile all 4 of them up and you want to cut them all at the same time because you're good and you can do that, and if something slips a little bit, it won't set you off on a tangent, then you do that. Whatever floats your boat. I'm just showing you how I do it. Right, wrong. This is my method. It's what works for me, and it's what keeps my OCD or whatever I've got, my anxiety levels under check. Okay? All right. So I'm not going to cut any more of these. We're going to call this good enough. But you'll be cutting 4, 8. There should be 16 of these when you get all 4 of them cut. All right, 4 times 4 is 16. Mrs. Lucier's math. That multiplication table is 4th grade. Eileen Lucier. Yes. Okay, now we have these 6 7/8 squares that we also cut. And you're going to cut this into 2 triangles. So that's much easier. You're not going to have to worry about being careful that you don't move the fabric and have to cut it again. So you're only going to cut this once from one corner to the other. So there's 2. And I'm sure you cut all of yours together in one because you're the chain piecer. I'm not. You're the cutting multiple layers. I'm not. So, hey, everybody's got their own thing. So, here's our square, or our triangles are cut. So that is all we needed to do for quilt clue number 2. Easy for me to say.